Hi, everyone. My name is Greg Hunter. I'm the acquiring editor of graphic novels at Learner Publishing Group. And in this recording, I'll be telling you about some of the graphic novels we have coming out this spring. First up, Medical Breakthroughs is a 6-book graphic nonfiction series. Each book is a brisk 32-page account of major medical events and scientific developments, including the stories of pioneering doctors and inventors, along with accessible explanations of how these new techniques and devices worked. The series includes antibiotics, the discovery of germs, the first heart transplant, incubators, x-rays, and perhaps the timeliest title in the series, vaccines. And what I think the series does well in the form of graphic narratives is to show how important each breakthrough was at a different point in history, and to give readers an understanding of what were often life and death stakes. The books approach the topics in a way that even science-averse young readers are likely to find fascinating. And book by book, you'll find a lot of things to hook people. The role of antibiotics in saving lives during World War II, the dangerous, unregulated early years of X-ray machines, the phenomenon of incubator exhibits, which put premature babies on display to fund the devices that kept them alive, and a lot more. So, especially now, in this continued time of medical crisis, I think it's helpful to give young readers an entry point into these topics, and I think this new series is a strong contribution in that area. Next, Felix and Calcite is a new series from Super Potato creator Artur Laperla, and one that skews a grader so younger than Super Potato, making it a great option for first-time graphic novel readers. The adventure begins as a young boy named Felix wakes to discover a troll has stumbled her way into his room, and it turns out that somewhere in Felix's toy chest, there's a tunnel to the land of trolls. Together, Felix and Calcite, who's named for her favorite rock, take the tunnel, and Calcite starts to show him around. Felix learns a lot about Calcite's world, like how trolls love to eat rocks and have really runny noses, before a band of gnomes puts a halt to the proceedings and captures Felix and Calcite. The gnomes are convinced that trolls have been eating them, which of course is absurd because trolls eat rocks. And we soon find that maybe the gnomes have just not done a great job of keeping track of one another. So Felix and Calcite has the kind of quirky humor readers expect from Artur, which has an all ages appeal, but the barrier to entry with this series is even lower. It's funny, colorful, and a very inviting romp into another world. And speaking of Artur Laperla, Super Potato and the Soaring Terror of the Pterosaur is the next entry in his well-loved Super Potato series. This new adventure finds the tiny hero dealing with a flying prehistoric pest. Augusta Richley, the daughter of a local billionaire, gets everything she wants, and when she decides she wants a winged lizard that's been extinct for millions of years, her father spares no expense in getting her one, even if it means enlisting the help of a mad scientist supervillain. When the creature gets loose, which naturally happens within minutes, it's up to Super Potato to fix things, leading to a rodeo in the sky as he wrangles the pterosaur and tries to bring it down to Earth. Of course, the story ends well, more or less, with the pterosaur getting an island home away from vulnerable civilians. But Augusta Richley deciding that she wants Super Potato to herself next. These books, of course, are just marvels of consistency, I think, as funny as ever. And young readers are really going to enjoy this addition to the series and the addition of a prehistoric flying lizard. Next, we have the epic conclusion to A House Divided, our young adult fantasy series by Heike Hornig and Marius Politza with The Lost Daughter. The previous volume ended with mysterious stone warriors breaching the house Henrietta Achilles inherited from her wizard uncle, and Henrietta and their allies doing their best to protect townspeople caught in the crossfire. As Henrietta uses the last of the house's magic to keep people safe, she witnesses two shocking returns here in this book. She learns that the person leading the attack on the house is her own mother, long thought dead, who is equally surprised to learn that Henrietta's on the other side. Surprising them both is Ornan Zoll, the house's former owner, who faked his death to lure Henrietta's mother back home. It turns out Zoll isn't her brother, he's her creator, and Henrietta's mom is something like Frankenstein's monster. So of course, I'm trying to describe, this ending to 4 books worth of fantasy lore without taking people who aren't familiar with the series too deep into the weeds. So I'll capture it another way too, which is, throughout this series, the authors have told their story with a ton of heart, and this last volume really rewards readers who've gone on that journey with them. The inclusion has plenty of twists and turns, but it keeps up its attention to character too, and readers are going to find the end really satisfying, I think. Lastly, Amazona is a sophisticated standalone upper YA graphic novel. It comes to us from Canizales, a Colombian-born artist, now based in Spain, who wanted to tell a story about the injustices facing the indigenous peoples of his home country, and specifically of the displacement of some Colombian peoples and the inhospitable conditions they've been met with afterward. Andrea, the story's lead, is a 19-year-old indigenous woman, one of the Quechua peoples, whose family was forced off their land in the Amazon rainforest region of Colombia as a result of illegal mining activity, and then housed in conditions that led to the death of her baby. And as the story begins, she's returning home to give her child a proper burial, and also with the hope of documenting the illegal mining as a step toward coming home for good. When she's there, she realizes that one of the guards is another indigenous man and a childhood acquaintance of hers, and everything hinges on what he'll do when he discovers why she's really come. So this is a story with a very prominent social consciousness, but with real elements of a thriller as well. And it all unfolds in a very stark, visually distinctive style. There's also, for soccer fans, the added appeal of, the events at the mining site taking place parallel to a 2014 Colombia-Uruguay soccer match, the radio broadcast of which becomes sort of a running commentary, Greek chorus kind of thing across the story. So it's just a singular book all around. And with that, that is Spring 2022 in Lerner's Graphic Universe imprint. Thank you again for taking the time to listen.